Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. And I'm sure the Secretary of State would like to join me, and I'm sure he accidentally omitted it, in congratulating Anas Sarwar on becoming leader of the Scottish Labour Party, the very first ethnic minority leader of any UK political party. And I'm sure his positivity and optimism will transform Scotland when compared to what we have at the moment. Mr Speaker, business COVID support in Scotland has been sporadic at best, and I hope the Government will tell us how we'll get a full, transparent audit from the Scottish Government following the Audit Scotland report last week that estimated £2.7 billion was unspent, not including the £1.2 billion from last week's budget. Every penny needs spent now. So, Mr Speaker, this Government talks a lot, as we've heard already, about a post-COVID levelling up green agenda, yet is pursuing a policy in offshore renewables that benefits its business solely in the south east of England. The Government's fourth Contracts for Difference auction at the end of this year actively disadvantages viable Scottish offshore renewable projects, as BEIS includes out-of-date and expensive transmission charges in auctions bids. So what is the Secretary of State doing to ensure the Government ditches this unfair renewables policy that advantages South East England at the expense and detriment of perfectly viable offshore renewables projects off our Scottish coasts?
Well, Mr Speaker, can I begin by agreeing with the honourable gentleman and welcoming Anas Sarwar as leader of the Scottish Labour Party. And can I also agree with him that we need more transparency on the spending of the £9.6 billion of COVID support and business support that the Scottish Government's received. So I completely agree with him on that. On the transmission issue, as he will know, by law, transmission charging is a matter for Ofgem, who are an independent regulator. However, I would say to him that Ofgem are currently considering some aspects of the transmission charging arrangements through its access and forward-looking charges review. And I would encourage all Scottish generators to engage with that review at the earliest opportunity. Ian Murray.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I accept the answer that the Secretary of State has given, but it will disadvantage. BEIS have said they will not change the auction requirements, and therefore, unless the wind blows in the south east estuary of England, renewables in Scotland will be significantly disadvantaged, and renewables will be significantly disadvantaged. Mr Speaker, given the mess the Scottish Government are making of business and industry in Scotland, from steel to airports, ferries to aluminium smelters, I hope the UK Government delivers on its promise to protect the Scottish financial services sector post-COVID and post-Brexit. Financial services have done very well from Brexit, as long as you're in Amsterdam or Frankfurt. In Scotland, the sector employs 162,000 people and is nearly 10% of the Scottish economy, but despite its importance, was not included in the Brexit deal at all. So will the Secretary of State guarantee today that the sector will get a much-needed post-COVID boost by ensuring the Memorandum of Understanding on Financial Services, due to be signed in a matter of days with the EU, gives this critical industry the equivalence and access to EU markets that they were promised by this Government?
Secretary of State.
Well, Mr Speaker, the UK and the EU have agreed in a joint declaration to establish a structured regulatory cooperation for the financial services industry. A memorandum of undertaking will be agreed in discussions between us and them to establish a framework. And those discussions, I say to the honourable gentleman, those discussions are currently ongoing at official level. But as with the Brexit negotiations, we can't give a running commentary.